Good day, people. My name's Aaron Berry, from formerly the Awakened Brave channel. Taken down for speaking truth and for allowing people forbidden insight, because it is actually forbidden to have any real insight about what's going on in this universe. There's a whole agenda. It's like an evil suppressive blanket which has been thrown over the globe to stop people thinking for themselves, to suppress people's inquiring mind, to stop people promulgating information, to stop people sharing their opinions about many subjects, because it's dangerous to the establishment. And so I'm pretty sure that lots of you guys are familiar to a more or lesser degree of what is actually going on this globe. It runs amazingly deep. It's absolutely incredible, the depth of it and the profundity of it and the weirdness of it. It gets into the supernatural, it gets into the incomprehensible, it gets into the absolute bewildering, bizarre. And so, in the face of this, what do? Truth seekers. To seek for truth is a fallacious journey. It's such a fallacy that there is a definitive truth. There is no definitive truth. You cannot find definitive truth anywhere on this planet. You may think, if you're a little bit versed in science, scientists know this and scientists know that. Scientists are just shooting in the dark. And if you look into science, then you'll discover that there is a whole myriad of documents, papers, been written by people which are very, very highly speculative. They theorise about this and they theorise about that. Quantum mechanics, theory about this, theory about that. Einstein, theory of general relativity. It's all theories, people. And these theories have been created into appearing to be concrete. So we can have a belief system which enables us to function within this illusion, because this is an illusion. There is no reality to it whatsoever. Consciousness is having a experience which it is projecting for itself. It's a bit like a movie projector wanting to entertain itself, and so it projects a movie onto a screen which it can watch and while away the hours. Now, this sort of information is difficult to grasp for many people, because the way in which our minds have been trained and taught and hypnotised and indoctrinated, it doesn't allow us to have any consensus with thoughts like this. But thoughts like this are no more wild than Einstein's theory of relativity, or Newton's gravity, or any other theory like Hawking's theory of the black hole, and all this stuff, theory upon theory upon theory. We're just playing, and it's great to play, but let's not take it too seriously. And let's not take ourselves seriously. And so I've come back to this little nature reserve. And this is where I had this incredible DMT trip the other day. And I'm drawn back here every single day now, because I experienced the magic yet again, opening my eyes yet again. And the thing what I've come to understand, and many of us are aware of this, the vast majority of people's eyes are closed. The vast majority of people's hearts are closed and dull. And some of you may think that, oh, you know how to love and you love. You've got no comprehension of what real love is. Real love is of such a magnitude that, like I expressed in this video, which you haven't seen because I can't put it up anyway, but when you feel the magnitude of this love, it's so debilitating. It's almost terrifying. It's so excruciating. And yet, just like the paradox of the universe, it is something which is coupled with something else. And because we as humans, we've never experienced the true magnitude of the love of God, then it's something out of this world. And so I experienced a little of this the other day, and it dropped me to my knees, and it put me in a position whereby I just wanted to roll around and roll around in the dirt and the debris until this incredible bliss subsided. And then when I came out of it, I jumped to my feet, shaking legs, and I was looking at the heaven all around me, and absolutely everything is amazing, and I'm joyous, and I'm laughing, and I'm jumping, and I'm ecstatic. To be alive, to have the illusion of life, to be on this world, which is so incredible, if only we can open our eyes to it, and our hearts. And so I've been speaking to Rachel, which I do most every day, and she's always encouraging me to start making videos again, and I don't seem to have the heart for it anymore, because what this is giving me is 10,000 times more than whatever YouTube could give me. You see, this whole internet thing is to distract humanity from its true essence, the essence of spirituality, to keep us so far detached from our spiritual essence. And it's doing a very, very fine job. And rapidly these days, it's turning the human being into an automated, soulless, vacuous creature. And you just look around and you try and engage with people, and even if you speak about the smallest of things with a little bit of depth, people throw their hands up to their ears and go, oh, he's too deep, he is, oh, that's deep. Goodness me, deep? You're just scratching the surface. And so we realise the extent of how the so-called human mind has been closed down. And I'm not sure whether we're all human here, and I made many videos about this. And by the way, if you want to see about 100 of my videos, you can see them on Vimeo, vimeo.com, Aaron Berry. You'll find my channel there. I have a private channel also, which I've walked away from due to the lack of response. Couldn't reach people. I couldn't penetrate the spirited human being. Couldn't touch them. If I made videos like this, I couldn't get no response. People just didn't know what to say. Sure, some people would thumb up, and some people would say, I like it when you do nature videos. And that was the end of it. No profundity, no philosophy, no spirituality, no heart-reaching words. conveyed nothing, just falling on the dead. And so I became frustrated. And I thought, well, what is the point in flogging a dead donkey? Let the donkey be. It's dead already. And so I now spend my own time in nature, invariably alone, but not alone, you see. And this is a fallacy also. I'm with the world. I'm with myself. I'm with the essence of God. I never, ever, ever feel remotely lonely. It isn't possible when you have a relationship with the God consciousness. How can you be alone? You're within it. You're within God consciousness, which is everything. And when you have this level of emancipation from fear and anxiety and the human ego, then all that nonsense just slips away and your eyes become open to the potential and the glory of what you can experience in this life. And so I'm going to be showing you a few things. And one of the conversations I had with Rachel, she wanted me to see the response that our conversation had and to read a few of the comments. And she tried to guide me through certain procedures how to see this, because on my phone I just don't have the facility for looking at comments. And again, you know, go here, do this, click this, put this secret number in. Please, please, just stop now. Leave me alone. I've stepped outside of the matrix. Progressively, I've been outside of the matrix for a long time, but more so with every passing day, because I've come to realise that there is nothing for me in the matrix. It is a vacuous void of nothingness, save for confusion, frustration, fear, anxiety, hate, envy, jealousy, on and on and on, with these negative human attributes which are being promoted, they're being nurtured, cultivated, because this is the agenda of the negative masters of this world. You can all feel it, you've all felt it, and I'm telling you now, you're feeling it this very moment. Because these programs are so deep within you, and they're incredibly difficult to escape from. But I've escaped from them, for the greater part. And now I'm residing in another world. A blissful world. A world long forgotten by most people on this planet. A world which our ancestors used to take for granted. I don't want to cheapen how they thought about the world by saying taking it for granted, but they knew nothing else. They knew not of the matrix. And so this is what they had. And I wouldn't say this is all they had, even though this is all they had, because it is all. It's everything. It's everything that the human being needs. And this is proven to be so because we existed within nature for over 1 million years, maybe millions of years, depend who you listen to. And it's only in very, very recent times that we've been imprisoned. And so, I'm going to show you a few things. An alternative, people, to gazing into that scrying screen, which you know as your phone or the computer. It's a scrying screen. Scrying screens are used to summon up demons. And you may think I'm going a bit far, but the intention behind the modern technology is demonic. Why is it demonic? Because it's stealing your soul. In actual fact, it's crucifying your soul. It's obliterating your soul. It's eradicating your human essence. And so, some of you might want to turn your face away from that and start looking at the real world. Because the Matrix is all illusory. It's all trickery. If you look at the movie world, Hollywood, if you look up Hollywood, then you'll see that in ancient times, conjurers and magicians, they used the holly tree to make their wands from. And so this holly tree has some sort of magical portal in which to beguile people by. And so they used to use these wands to cast spells and have power over people. And so what's happening now to the movie industry? Hollywood. You see, they tell us everything. It's just that most of us are too stupid or too ignorant, too lazy to even look behind words and the language, which are spells. They're casting spells upon us with their Hollywood wand, and they've got us exactly where they want us. And they are feeding on our energy, and they are creating negative energy within us, because that is what their palate is particularly accustomed to. They like the negative energy. They like the fear, hate and anxiety and all of that. And so if you look at your hearts, people, hello, if you look at your hearts, if you give your heart an assessment, and if you're true to yourself and ask yourself, is this world presently satiating me? Or is it causing me any number of negative emotion? Why am I incessantly drawn to these scrying screens? Because magic spells have been cast upon you, and you're completely embroiled within them. And most people, they haven't a clue. No idea whatsoever. And they think that looking around a place like this is completely boring and unsatiating. It's of no value whatsoever. It's just a bunch of sticks and weeds. And so they go rushing back to get in front of their scrying screens, to get their latest fix of dopamine. But they don't even know the sensation of real dopamine. It's just a very, very poor substitute, because I'm telling you now, when you get to a certain position in your consciousness, to look at the smallest of things on this planet gives you such a long-lasting, nurturing and fulfilling dose of dopamine that you become absolutely intoxicated with it. So I'm going to show you a few of those things. Now, incidentally, this is where I fell to my knees and I had that trip I was talking about the other day. And I won't mention the 3 capital letters of this certain substance, because the powers that be are going to stamp this video and stamp anybody that's promoting it. They're going to eradicate it within an instant, because it's the last thing they want you to know. that you are God consciousness, that you can get in touch with something so profoundly beautiful. Once you've felt that, you will never want to be within the matrix again. And this is why they're so afraid of it. And so, I was walking around here over these past few days, and because now I'm 55 this year, then my eyes are not what they were. And so, when I'm gazing upon the world, I'm not seeing it in the clarity that I used to. And so therefore, I need a matrixial aid. Now then, there is one or two things that benefit us from the matrix, and they make our lives easier. And I can't dismiss the whole matrix as a negative thing, because within the matrix, of course, there is good people working, trying to do good things for the human being, and lots of them do. And the powers that be allow us to have things like this, because this will enable us to see text on a computer and to read text in their propaganda magazines and newspapers. You see? And if this technology that keeps us alive, it's for one reason, because they want it that way. Because when we're alive, they can extract energy from us. When it gets to a point whereby they can no longer extract our energy, they don't want us alive anymore. i.e. getting past the working age, 65, 70 years old. And so they want to suppress our immune system, and they want to feed us with any number of pollutants which promote diabetes and cancer and all different sorts of illnesses. When the body is young, it can fend off most of these illnesses, but of course when it gets older, it becomes much more susceptible. And so when you look into it, it sounds very incredible for some people, but it is actually the way it is. And when you delve into this information, it becomes so undeniable. It's so in your face, the agenda. And they even state what their agenda is in many documents. The Protocols of Zion, Agenda 21, and all the things related to the Illuminati, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, George Soros and all these sorts of people. So anyway, it's still early, and so some of the flowers haven't been blessed with the sun god, and so they're closed. And so I'm going to be showing you a few things that don't need the sun to open them, because they work in a different way. So, here we go. Now as we're walking around, you can see now from the view of this camera, it's just grass, it's just weeds, it's just dead leaves. Okay, that's one perspective. But I want to show you another perspective now. And I want to get a little bit closer. And when you start to look and realise what is going on, and you see these little seeds that it's dispersing, and you see its beautiful plumage, isn't that wonderful? Can you not see God within this? Can you not see how beautiful that is? How gentle it is. Looks like a, I don't know, like a squirrel's tail or something. Bushy and fluffy and soft. I'm going to show you a few other things. You see, if you just take the time and just look, then you'll start to see more and more. And if you think certain things are not really of value to see, then look a bit closer. Just look a bit closer. I'm trying to find a particular plant that I saw yesterday, which was stunning beyond belief. I'm going to go back up here. Try not to be bored, people. If you're bored of the visual, then try to be remotely entertained by the words that I'm speaking. Because if you can get in tune with the words that I'm speaking, you might just be saved. And this whole thing about being saved by Jesus, you see, whether you believe Jesus was an actual reality or not, the metaphor behind Jesus is that the Christ is within us all. And Jesus said on numerous occasions, "Truly I say unto you, that God is within you all. Do you not know that you are all mini gods?" And so, when you start to take that on board, then you will know that the essence of God is within us all, just as the essence of God is without us all, because we are in this consciousness, God consciousness. And so therefore then, when we start to realise that, then we will start to see the beauty of this world. And so, let's have a little look at something else, shall we? How does nature create such marvellous things? The contrast, the shapes, the configuration. And they are just adorning the world everywhere. And look, serving a purpose. The tiniest of creatures consuming what these flowers and plants have to offer, serving a symbiotic relationship. There's a benefit to both. Just looking at something what we consider to be absolutely mundane. Looking at the shape. Just stopping to look at how it's configured. And each and everything has its procreation mechanism going on. Within there is the seeds of life. And this is its purpose: to regenerate, to give splendour to the world, and to help along all the other creatures. Now you see these hanging here. Look at these little things here. Tiny little seeds, it seems. So delicate and so marvellous. And you see how fragile it all is. So incredibly fragile, and yet so robust, because it seems it doesn't matter what humanity is throwing at it. still manages to survive. Aren't they stunning? People pass by these every single day without ever stopping to say hello. Now the sun hasn't risen sufficiently high to enable this one to open itself up into all of its glory. But within an hour or so, it will be fully bloomed and presenting itself to God consciousness, absorbing the photons which give it life. You see, each and every night they go to sleep and they close up their petals to conserve their energy, to protect themselves, and then the following day they open back up again to greet the world. Now this here is the plant that I wanted to show you, because this one really took my breath away yesterday. It looks like you've got kind of like little cocoons. It's like there's moths or butterflies in those, just hanging there, transforming from a caterpillar to a butterfly or a moth. But in actual fact, they're just a plant. But you see how delicate and how amazing, and what a beautiful display. They look like they're kind of like transparent a little bit. And so these things, this is what is giving me tremendous joy. Just to be in the presence, to observe them, and know the chances are that I'm the first person that's ever took the time to view those. How many people are doing what I do? They just walk through this path, taking their dog for a walk. They don't absorb anything really. Some people may appreciate the calmness of it, but how many people go and look and inspect a leaf, or the bark on a tree, or a blade of grass, or the smallest and seemingly most insignificant weeds? It isn't done, is it? Why isn't it done? Because their mind has been poisoned, and they've been taken away from nature, and they don't think there's any importance to it. They don't think there's any benefit to be gained from being in a relationship with it, and so they pass it all by. But it goes on, and what it tells me is we'll go on regardless, because we live in hope that humanity will once again turn its face back to us and appreciate us and learn about us and know us and be with us, just like humans did in the old days. They would know the benefit of every single plant, and they would have a relationship and an appreciation for the natural world around them. Because it's just a reflection of you when you look at a flower. If you find the appreciation in it, then you are appreciating. If you look at a flower and you don't find the appreciation in it, then you don't have the capacity to appreciate. And so therefore you have to ask yourself, what is happening to my humanism? Why is it that I can't appreciate this most wonderful of miracles? What is it that's happened to our minds that don't allow us to appreciate the miracle anymore? Our ignorance. If some of you can actually turn your face now to God, to nature, and you can look upon the most insignificant of plant and weed, and you can see the pure beauty and amazement and genius of it. If you can do that, then you have appreciation. And if you have appreciation, then there is hope for you. Because that's what this world is about. It's about appreciation. We've come here to appreciate, to learn about all this stuff, to be involved with it. Not just to stamp it beneath our feet and pay it no mind and consider it to have no importance. It's just weeds. Look at this. Ah! Oh! I just stuck that in my ribs. What's that saying to me? Don't get too close, asshole. I'm sorry. All I was doing is showing the viewer your splendour. But I will treat you with great respect. And this is the little message, isn't it? Do treat us with respect. Look at this. It looks like a shark's mouth. And look at these patterns here. Aren't they wonderful? Just to look close, people. You would think it's some sort of dinosaur. Some sort of a fin on the back of a dinosaur. But this is the thing, you see, with nature. Potentially, it's dangerous. Some of it. Wow. You see the genius in nature with its design mechanism, with all of these little furry things. We know what they are. They're the seeds. And how did it come to this? How did it know to manufacture these seeds in such a way that the wind could gently take away to another destination to help promote its life form? You see all these around again. They're so delicate. So I've shown you a little bit. These days I'm very, very careful as to where I tread, because I don't want to be responsible for killing something, compromising something's life and growth. I just want to pass through, enjoying it and respecting it. Can you hear all the birds around? You know, just a simple thing. And it all seems so simple, but it really is so very, very complex. But just to observe the bark on a tree. And you see these patterns. When you're on DMT, all of these turn into eyes, and all of these patterns, they turn into some sort of a creature. And I ask myself, why does that happen? And it seems to me it's because the natural world wants to try to awaken you to the fact that we are all living, you know. We are all creatures. We are all sentient in our own way. You see, these flowers, these daisies, and all other flowers, as I've said, they will close in the evening time and they will open up in the morning. And throughout the day, they will follow the sun across the sky from east to west. They will face it this way and they'll follow it around, basking in its glory. And eventually when the sun goes down, it will fold up and go to sleep. And then in the morning time, when the sun kisses it, it opens up again. If you can find the ability to do that with each and every day, when the sun rises, you can open up your heart to a newborn day with the notion of experiencing the glory of it. A bunch of swifts flying around. And so, it's getting a long video, but this is what I'm doing these days. And everywhere I go, you just stop to look. And when you look, first of all, this just looks like a tree with leaves. But then, hang on, well, what's going on here? Look at this. They're its little procreative seeds. And so it produces these to pass on its life form in its own particular magical way. And you see, look at all the chances it's given itself. Each one of those little pods is a seed of life. Just like when the human being releases its seed. There's millions of them. Because there's only a chance in a million of this procreation taking place. And so when you look at the numbers, you cannot concede anything else that it is entirely miraculous. When you look at turtles, for instance, they have, say, like, I don't know, 200 or 300 eggs. And the chances of them reaching maturity, the numbers are astronomical. Even though they're astronomical, they're still massive compared to the chances of life in general. But if you look at the nature of the universe, and you listen to scientists talking about what's the chance of this world being the world, and life being here, it's so incredibly small that we cannot conclude anything else other than that it's a miracle at hand. And so finally then, people, if we take on board the miracle of what you and I are, what everything is around us. If you can see within your heart a space for that emotion, then can you imagine how this satiation will increase 1,000-fold once you start to appreciate the world around you? Once you start to emancipate yourself from the invisible prison that isn't so invisible these days. Okay. Last couple of minutes. Look at the enormous amount of wild flower. Look at these. Wow! Aren't they beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. And look at these. And even this, no flowers as yet. But what genius. What genius. Hello, my friend. Are you taking breakfast? Huh? You see, this land, some time ago, was a dumping ground, as you can see. And all these piles of earth have been taken from somewhere else where there was building, and they dumped it in indiscriminate, nondescript piles. But nature regained its footing again, because it's so resilient, and the strive for life is so strong that it's going to keep trying. In the face of all adversity, it's going to keep trying, because it appreciates life. So there you have it, people. These are the type of videos that I like to make. But the level of appreciation that is warranted for this, it cannot be attained by the greater majority of people these days on YouTube. And so those of you that do appreciate it, looking at it on your scrying screen is okay. It's a step in the right direction, because we can't all travel to the length and breadth of this world to see the glorious creatures. But if you can, then I would suggest that you start to get out in nature a little bit more, because this is just a piece of nondescript land in the middle of suburbia, which has been left alone and been given the chance for life. And so I'm pretty sure that there'll be something like this near where you live. And so, open your eyes, people. Open your hearts. and start to cognize the magnitude of the suppression of the human spirit. Try to regain it and promote it. Have a great day.